फ्रेश मिल्क का बना हुआ है, बहुत ही बढ़िया है। आप देख सकते हैं कितना दानेदार है, अभी नए फ्रेश बना हुआ है, एकदम बहुत बढ़िया लग रहा है देखने में, खाने में कितना अच्छा होगा।
Also, what is the next step after that? Once you take out the milk?
It'll be tested to make sure that none of the sick cows that were treated with penicillin made it into the tank. If the sick cows, the milk's put on the ground. And then once we know it's good, it'll be pumped up here to be processed.
Okay. So what do you mean by processing?
Pasteurized.
Pasteurization.
Homogenized.
Okay, homogenization.
In Maryland, it's illegal to sell unpasteurized.
Okay, okay.
The homogenizer, the bottle filler, where we make all the ice cream. You see all that, how we make butter.
Oh, butter? You can see?
You won't be able to see me make it, but I'll
Okay,
tell
okay.
you where.
Okay, okay.
अब हम सब अंदर जा रहे हैं, इसमें हम बताएंगे आपको जो दूध कलेक्ट करने के बाद उसको प्रोसेस किया जाता है, तो वहाँ हम समझेंगे कि प्रोसेसिंग क्या होती है।
I try to keep it brief. Alright guys, so my name is Dean and I'm one of the pasteurizers here at South Mountain. Pretty much the only people that are allowed back here in this room is the pasteurizer, the separator, and the supervisors. So the first thing that happens whenever we start up our process is the separator. He works night shift, 11 at night till 9 in the morning. He's got a couple really important jobs. One of the first things that he's going to do when he comes in is test the milk to see if any of the bad cows have gotten milked in with the good cows, or test it for penicillin because the sick cows are treated with penicillin. You guys, some of you have penicillin allergies, so they don't want the bad dogs to get the milk that's produced. The other job that he's going to do is put this machine together right here. There's a big assembly that comes on the top of it, and what this machine does on the inside of here is 84 plates, and what it does is spins at about 200 miles an hour. And what that's going to do is suck all the fat out of the whole milk and create skim milk. So when that machine's done, what you're going to have is cream in this tank, skim milk in this tank, and whole milk in the other tank. So the way that you make 2% milk, and the percentages, in case you guys didn't know, is for how much fat is in the milk. The way that you make 2% milk is half skim milk and half whole milk. So our tanks on the other side of the wall, after it's been pasteurized, hold about 2,900 pounds. So if I'm making one tank at 2%, it'll be 1,450 pounds of skim, 1,450 pounds of whole. It'll be blended together, and that'll create your 2% blend. 1% is 3/4 skim, 1/4 whole. So just to give you guys an idea about how all the conversions work. So the only tanks I haven't explained yet are this tank and this outer horn right here. So what it's going to do is it's for our mixing all of our flavors, or our half and half, or anything that's got to be mixed or blended together. So the way it works is if you follow this line right here, it goes over here, and there's a tube connecting down to the tank. So when we're introducing our powders and our sugar, the milk's being passed through the line as the powder's being introduced to it. So you don't have a bunch of sugar and powder just sitting on the bottom. So what we'll mix in there is like our chocolate yogurt mixed in base, anything that has powder, and half will be mixed in there. The way that we wash in here, the only thing that's hand scrubbed is the outside of everything. Inside, if you follow down to the middle of these tanks, it's called what is a spray ball. Basically, through these lines, it's pressurized through that ball, and there's a bunch of little holes inside the ball, and it's got a spot on each spot on the inside of the tank where each hole is supposed to hit, which is how it gets washed. So the way we wash is fill this trough up with hot water for detergents and cold water for all of our acids, and we'll turn these three-way valves to send the milk or water wherever it needs to go, depending if we're in production producing the milk or cleaning up at the end of the day. Our cleaning process is called CIPing or CIPing. It's clean in position or clean in place. On average, cleaning back here, it takes about an hour and a half. Just washing the tanks, not counting how long it takes us to scrub up and all that. The way the state and the federal government audit us is with the charts that you guys see behind you on the wall and behind Marcus right here. So what they'll do is when the state government or federal government come in, they'll take these charts off the walls and they'll see that we held the milk as cold as it was supposed to be held, below 45 degrees is legal. And then when we wash, the temperature spikes are as high as we need them to be. Just so they can see, because they're not here obviously when we're running. When they audit us, they can pretty much pull a chart for whatever each station has a chart that's supposed to read certain things, and they come in and audit them. So just pretty much that they're here without actually being here, so they can see everything that we did. When power outages go out, we can mark all the power outages, any fluctuations they want to see, everything.
तो जो अभी हम वहाँ देख रहे थे कि दूध की प्रोसेसिंग कैसी होती है, पास्चराइजेशन कैसा होता है, उनकी एक खुद की अपनी कंपनी भी है जो आइसक्रीम वगैरह बनाती है, दूध पे ये है उनका प्रोडक्ट है। आप देख सकते हैं कितने फ्लेवर में बनाते हैं ये। ये सारी कंपनियाँ हैं। तो यहाँ पे ऑर्डर ले भी रहे हैं। अगर किसी को आइसक्रीम चाहिए तो यहाँ से आप एडवांस में बुक करके ले सकते हैं। तो अभी हमने जैसे आपको दिखाया था, वहाँ पे मिल्क का प्रोसेसिंग होता है, उसका चीज़ भी बना हुआ है यहाँ पे। तो ये आप चीज़ देख सकते हैं, 4 प्रकार का चीज़ यहाँ पे बना हुआ है। ये फ्री में रखा हुआ है टेस्ट करने के लिए। तो मैं अभी एक टेस्ट करता हूँ। तो मुझे एक ये मिल गया है, मैं टेस्ट करता हूँ कि कैसा है। फ्रेश मिल्क का बना हुआ है, बहुत ही बढ़िया है। फ्रेश चीज़ का बात ही कुछ और होता है, बहुत बढ़िया है। अभी हम दूसरे छोर पे आ रहे हैं, उन्होंने हमको भेजा है। इधर आएंगे, इधर देखेंगे इधर क्या हो रहा है। देख सकते हैं यहाँ पे ढेर सारी मशीनें लगी हुई हैं। अभी वो बताएंगे हमको इस हर मशीन के बारे में क्या है। ये बेसिकली पॉस्चराइजेशन का पार्ट है इधर।
We have 2 different ways that we pasteurize. I'll get into both of them as we go along. But this machine right here, the machine that I run every day, it's called an HTST or high temperature short time. Basically what this machine does is the milk goes in here and is heated up to kill the bacteria. That's what pasteurization is. The reason why we have 2 different kinds is because we produce 2 different kinds of products. The first one is fluid milk. The reason why we use this to produce the fluid milk is because it's heated up and it's held in the holding tubes for about 18 to 22 seconds and then sent down the line to be bottled. The other form of pasteurization that we have is back pasteurization, which is the big cylinder over here. The difference is, like I was saying, 18 to 22 seconds sent down the line. This, we'll put a product in here, usually our thicker products, ice cream mixes, yogurt, drink. And what it's going to do in there is be heated up to about the same temperature, 165 degrees, but it's held for 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, it's officially pasteurized, and it can be pumped into the tanks. The plate setup here isn't quite big enough to run those thicker products, so we use this to run that, and that way we can keep production going at the same time without having to stop. This right here and the small wagon over there, they each work with the pasteurizers. This is called a homogenizer. Can anybody tell me what homogenization is?
Mixing?
So pretty much what it does is beating up the fat to make it uniform in the bottle so it doesn't separate. The best way that I can explain that is if you guys have seen our cream top milk that we sell here, the only difference between the cream top and the regular whole milk is for cream top there's no pressure put on the homogenizer. So it's not getting beat into uniform globules, so all the fat will rise to the top and create that cream flow. If you guys turn around, every bit of ice cream that you guys see that has South Mountain Creamery's logo on it will be produced out of these 2 ice cream machines, and coming here soon will be this 3rd ice cream machine also. We just got it in on Tuesday and it hasn't gotten the approval from the state yet. Every new piece of equipment that comes in here has to get the approval from the state before we can start using it. So here within the next 2 weeks we should get the green light on this one, and we will be hiring another ice cream machine operator. All of our inclusions, like our chocolate pieces, our marshmallow, our caramel, all of that is hand included by the person operating the machine. So they'll put a little bit of ice cream in, add these, all the flavors, all the inclusions that you guys see. So it's very artesian, very, they take a lot of time, they're very detail oriented about how they present it to you guys. They want a good product to be presented to you guys.
तो अभी हम आपको दिखाएंगे कि जो मिल्क का आइसक्रीम बनता है, तो आइसक्रीम भी टेस्ट करके देखते हैं। जो फ्रेश दूध का जो आइसक्रीम बनता है तो कैसा होता है। तो यहाँ पर भी आइसक्रीम भी फ्री है, टेस्ट करने के लिए देते हैं। तो ये देखता हूँ, थैंक यू। तो ये मुझे जो है मिल गया है 1 कप, मैं टेस्ट करके देखता हूँ कैसा है। आप देख सकते हैं कितना दानेदार है, अभी नए फ्रेश बना हुआ है, एकदम बहुत बढ़िया लग रहा है देखने में, खाने में कितना अच्छा होगा। मैं देखता हूँ, बहुत बढ़िया टेस्ट है इसका, बहुत बढ़िया टेस्ट है क्योंकि फ्रेश है, इसलिए इसका स्वाद अलग है, बहुत बढ़िया। मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है कि मैं यहाँ पे आ गया, तो देखने को मिल रहा है। मैंने कभी सोचा नहीं था कि मैं कभी अमेरिका में आऊँगा, ये सब देखने को मिलेगा। अभी बहुत कुछ है देखने को, अभी मैं भी देखूँगा, आपको भी दिखाऊँगा, सिर्फ बने रहिए हमारे वीडियो के साथ। आगे हम देखेंगे कि मिल्क को बॉटल में कैसे भरते हैं और उसका पैकेज कैसे करते हैं।
So when we're in production, there will be a pipe running to the floor here, and you'll see water going through it, and then milk running behind it. So as it gets closer to about 2.5 minutes, you'll see it get turned from water to milk, and I'll take this valve and throw it down. Up means it's going to the floor, down means it's going down into the tank. Whenever I throw the valve down to the tank, once it's milk, I'll restart my stopwatch, and it runs about 100 pounds a minute. So I know how many pounds the tanks hold, and I know how many pounds are in the line. So just by my stopwatch, I can fill this tank exactly as high as I can, as I physically can without overflowing it or not putting enough in. So at my time, I'll shut my valve in the tank, and through that balance tank that you guys see in the front, I'll sit there and watch that, and as the milk level gets low, I'll start to run water behind it, and I will restart my stopwatch. When I restart my stopwatch, I'll cut a couple seconds off, that way I can put this valve up and still see a little bit of milk, and then it will turn the water behind it. That way I know I didn't put any water in the tank for you guys and mix it with the milk. So while I'm doing that, the guys who are running the bottle filler and the bottle washer will be putting their machines together. Once the tanks are full and they're good to go, whoever's running the bottle filler, there will be tags hanging here for each milk that I'm using. They'll come over and open these valves on the bottom and turn this pump on. If you follow this line, it goes up and all the way over here. And when we're ready for production, this line on top here will be broken and connected to the top of this. Inside of here, there's a float mechanism that whenever they turn the pump on, it will fill the bowl up, and when the float raises to the top, it will cut the pump off. That way the person who's running the bottle filler won't have to sit there and manually turn the pump on and off all day, because this can't be open so they can't see how full it is. There's a float at the bottom that whenever they're running, it will suck the milk down, and when it's so low, the float will lower, and the pump will kick back on and fill the bowl back up with milk. The light will stay on whenever the tank is empty. That way they'll know to go close the tank and turn the pump off. So at the same time that they're setting this up, the guys in the back room will be loading up the proper bottles to go on. And the bottles will be passed through these guides that you guys see here and hanging on the wall for the different size bottles that we have and the plastic bottles that we just started doing. So the way this works is these plates are all pressurized. So a bottle will be raised up on the nipple and be filled up. We're not allowed to touch any of the caps once they're in the cap chute and once milk is in the bottles. So the way the caps work is, there's a heavy side of the cap and a light side of the cap. If it's working properly, the caps will go up the conveyor and the heavy side will lean against the conveyor. That way when it drops, it's facing the proper way in the bottle. If it's going up the wrong way, the heavy side will lean away from the conveyor and it'll fall down, hopefully to be re-grabbed the proper way, so that way we don't have to touch them. If a bottle comes through uncapped, it's got to be dumped on the floor legally by the state. Get written up if we don't do that. So once the bottle is full of milk, as you can see here, it's passed right up to the capper and it'll just lay the cap right on top of the bottle. It will go around to these pressure plates and it will secure the cap on top of the bottle. It will be passed through this video jet, and you can see right here, we have different code dates for our cream products, our cultured products, and all that. So they'll type in the batch number and then it'll put the corresponding date across the bottle. So this is a two-person job. There will be a guy standing here putting the bottles in crates, and then another guy on the other side of him. Once the crates get 5 high, he'll wheel it in to the cooler, and then they will rotate the code dates. So the oldest will be in the front to be taken out, and the newest going behind it. That way we don't dump a considerable amount of milk at the end of every week. It is a big butter churn. So what we're gonna do with that pretty much is dump 450 or 500 pounds of cream in there, depending on how it was pasteurized. I've seen it take anywhere between a corresponding label on the cup and on the lid. So we'll take it, package it into a cup with our hand, put the lid on it, take it over to the cooler for it to be frozen, and then send out to you guys. Add it by hand. So we'll cut our yogurt base into a bucket, add the flavor that we want, and it'll be dumped when we're in production. There'll be a funnel coming up here. There's sensors on the bottom of this machine that let it know that there is a cup there or not a cup there. So once it reads that there's a cup here, the machine knows 2 rotations and the pump will dispense the liquid for whatever size cup we're running.
Frozen yogurt or regular yogurt?
Regular yogurt. And they are considering going and starting doing like fruit on the bottom, like Greek yogurt. They haven't gotten too much into that yet though. They need a whole new yogurt machine to be able to do that. So one turn from the pump dispensing the yogurt, it's going to put the tamper-proof seal on the top of it. This heater heats up to 580 degrees and it stamps the top of the cup. That way it's tamper-proof and it'll be pressed on the top of this plate. I'll lock the lid in place, and then pretty much the person who's running the machine will be standing here with a date gun, and as the cups come out, they'll sit here and date the cups, count them, put them in the cooler, and then they'll take them over for inventory. We don't have enough of a demand for yogurt yet that we need like a conveyor and a video jet like that. I'm sure once we get bigger as they keep growing, that will be conversation.
फाइनली वो समय आ गया है मिल्क को टेस्ट करने का, तो आइए टेस्ट करते हैं।
Yummy.
सही में मतलब फ्रेश मिल्क का टेस्ट होता है ना, सही में बहुत अच्छा होता है। और
मिल्क टेस्ट मुझे लग रहा है कि थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट भी है हमारे देश का और अमेरिका के मिल्क का टेस्ट। पता नहीं को लेकिन अच्छा है।
There we go.
तो इसी तरह हम आपको जो है नए नए वीडियो दिखाते रहेंगे और मिलते हैं अगले वीडियो में कुछ नए अमेरिका के कुछ दिलचस्प जानकारियों के साथ। तब तक के लिए नमस्कार।